Hello there, fellow human beings. How's everyone doing today? I'm driving along here. Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the greatest country in the world, man. Yeah. We are the greatest, at least according to us. We are the greatest. And it was interesting, I was talking to my father tonight. Go ahead, man. Sometime today. There you go. So, I was talking to my father and my brother, and we were having some dinner, and we were talking about... So I was telling them, how being a Canadian is kind of like a total, like a bit of a fraud, brainwashing, mind control. Sorry, someone's getting really close behind me, and it's really annoying me. This is kind of this brainwashing, mind control country. Now, and I'm going to explain why my whole view on this country has changed, and there's a lot of reasons why. But I'm going to give you a good example, a good Canadian example, as a kid who grew up playing hockey in this country, as Canadian, and how we were the best, and how we had all this passion, and how we're so moral, and Canadians are so nice, and yada, yada, yada. And that when we would play against this specific country called Russia, when I was a kid, it was called the Soviet Union. Same thing, whatever. When we would play against this country, there was so much mind control, and especially from that movie Rocky, about how like Russians are like heartless, like these heartless, like calculating, evil people, and like they kind of epitomize and embody like all that is evil and wrong with the world, like heartlessness and cold and calculating and devilish, the way that they were portrayed, right? And we are portrayed as these freedom-loving heroes, us great Canadians and Americans, that we are the, this is nothing more than propaganda. There's no truth to it at all. Isn't that crazy? So next time you want to put on your big old red Canadian shirt and cheer on Canada's junior national hockey team, or you want to cheer for Canada in the Olympics, remember this. In 1972, and this is what, this is a big thing. In 1972, Canada and Russia played in a hockey series called the Summit Series. I believe it was a best of 9, and they would travel back and forth. And of course, it is very, very famous. And when we were kids here in Canada, we were sold this idea of how Canadian pride, how we were losing to the Russians, and how we banded together. We got together, and we came back, and we won the series. Paul Henderson scored the winning goal, and they played this goal when I was a kid on TV over and over and over and over again. How great the pride is of this country, the heart and soul. But did you know the reason why Canada won this hockey series? Well, this was one thing they never showed us when we were kids. They never talked about what actually happened in the series. Canada was getting their asses beat because there were a lot of good Russian hockey players. They were really, really good, and much better than I think Canada was expecting. There was one guy in particular named Karlamov. And Karlamov was so good, the Canadians had no answer for him. And the Russians, I believe, were up in the series 3-1 or something. It was over. They were killing him. And Karlamov was just dominating, and they had no way to stop this guy. So what they did was, one game, Karlamov is coming down the off wing, skating down the right side of the ice as a left-handed shot. And good old Bobby Clark, a Canadian hero, this is a Canadian hero, skates all the way across the ice, takes 2 hands across his stick over his head, and smashes it right over Karlamov's ankle, and breaks his ankle, knocks him out of the series, and Canada came back and won the series. Now, they don't tell you that when you're a kid, but that's the reason why Canada won that series. So how did we win that series, ladies and gentlemen? This is what they should have taught us in school when we were kids. If we were really truly a moral country, they would have taught us, cheaters never prosper. Cheaters, you should never cheat, right? Cheating is wrong. Cheating is immoral. Canada cheated, and that's why they won. So they didn't really win, did they? Canada had to cheat. Bobby Clark had to break Kharlamov's ankle in order for Canada to win that Summit Series. And they put that on television for years and years and years and years and years, telling us how great this country is, how proud we should be of these people who is Bobby Clark? A hooligan. Yeah, Bobby Clark, if you're watching this vlog, you're a hooligan. The only way that you could be good at anything is to cheat and lie and then pretend afterwards that you're some kind of hero because you had to break somebody's ankle in order to win a hockey game. That's the level of sportsmanship that exists in this country. And people probably get mad at me, for saying such things. Now, and of course, I'm sure you could bring many examples of the Russians being, also doing stuff. I'm sure there's also all kinds of stuff. I'm sure there is. And I'm not saying that means all Canadians are bad. I'm just saying the propaganda is what's wrong with the whole picture. The whole picture of how, we are good, or that there's something significantly good about what this country represents as opposed to Russia, which they represent something bad. Well, then how come we had to cheat to win in this series? And we're proud of it. That doesn't sound like much of a moral country to me. So that's my thoughts on this great country that we live in over here. I do appreciate the fact that I get to drive down the street untouched, at least for now. God knows how long this privilege will continue on for. And until then, God bless everybody, Canadians and Russians as well. Take care.